All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to get into the nitty-gritty.
Well, today, we're looking at AI and how it's doing in the world of competitive coding.
Oh, yeah. That's a fascinating area, where programmers are really battling it out to write the most, well, elegant, efficient code they can.
Right, like a digital obstacle course for the best minds out there.
That's a good way to put it. And there's this new research paper that just came out, and it's got a whole data set, too, for anyone who really wants to dig in. And they introduced this new benchmark. It's called CODEELO.
Okay, CODEELO.
Yeah. And it's all built on CodeForces, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with.
Yeah, CodeForces is like that main platform where all the hardcore competitive coders go head to head, right?
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
the online arena for all those coding tournaments and battles.
So we're not just talking about AI that can just write code. We're talking AI that can actually go up against humans in these competitions.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And it gets really interesting here because, see, the problem was those existing benchmarks for AI coding, they weren't really cutting it. They were mostly testing code on a local machine, which doesn't really show you how it'd do in a real competition.
Right, because in a real competition, your code's judged on a whole different system. There's all those
Yeah.
hidden tests and weird constraints and things,
Oh,
right?
totally. You're right on. Think of it like this. Imagine training for a marathon, right? And you're just running on this perfectly flat track. And then race day comes and suddenly you've got hills and wind and all this other stuff to deal with.
Oof, yeah, that would be rough.
That's kind of what it was like for the AI with these old benchmarks. So CODEELO, what it does is it actually submits the AI's code to CodeForces.
Oh, wow. So it's like the AI is playing by the same rules as the humans.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that means no false positives. Like, for sure the AI is actually solving the problem, not just, gaming the system.
Right, it's going to be legit.
And the cool thing is, it can even handle those problems where there's not one single right answer, which happens a lot in real-world coding, too.
Yeah, it's not always black and white. So how do they actually measure how well the AI is doing? Do they give it like a score or something?
They do. They use this ELO rating system, which you might have heard of.
Oh yeah, ELO ratings. That's how they rank chess players, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a really good way to, measure skill in a bunch of different competitive things. So with CODEELO, they're using ELO ratings to see how the AI stacks up against, well, all the human coders on CodeForces.
Okay, so we're like literally pitting AI against humans in a battle of the brains. This is getting intense.
It is. And the results are, well, they're kind of eye-opening.
Okay, I gotta know. Spill the beans. How good is this AI at coding?
One AI, this one called O1 Mini, it actually achieved an ELO rating of 1578.
1578.
Yeah. And to put that into perspective, that puts it ahead of, get this, almost 90% of human coders on CodeForces.
Whoa, hold on. Almost 90%. So this AI is basically beating out the vast majority of human coders.
Yep. Pretty impressive, wouldn't you say?
That's more than impressive. That's kind of freaky. Are we all going to be out of a job soon? Should I start learning like plumbing or something?
Huh? Maybe not just yet. See, even this super AI, even O1 Mini, it had its limits.
Okay, so it's not like perfect. What kind of stuff did it struggle with?
Well, it had a tough time with the problems they classified as hard. And that's where this research gets even more interesting, I think. They actually analyzed how all the different AIs performed across different types of coding challenges.
Oh, so they broke it down by challenge type.
Exactly. And from that, they were able to get some real insights into, well, the AI's coding strengths and weaknesses.
I'm all ears. Lay it on me. What kinds of problems were these AIs good at? Were they just like brute forcing their way through calculations, or was there something, more to it?
Well, it turns out AI is really good at those problems that involve a lot of math, like basic implementation and sorting algorithms, those kinds of things where there are clear rules and logical steps to follow. That plays right into AI's strengths.
Yeah, that makes sense. AI loves a good set of rules to follow. But what about those trickier problems, the ones that need, more creative thinking or strategic planning?
That's where AI starts to hit a wall.
Mm.
It seems to struggle with anything that involves dynamic programming or tree-based algorithms or depth-first search, things like that.
Those are all pretty complex concepts.
They are, and they often need a more, well, human-like approach to solving them. The ability to see the bigger picture and come up with those clever solutions that aren't immediately obvious.
So it sounds like while AI can definitely code, it's not quite ready to replace human ingenuity just yet, at least not completely.
Right. But it's how AI is approaching these problems that's really fascinating, I think. Take dynamic programming, for example. It's this technique where you break down a complex problem into smaller, kind of overlapping subproblems. And humans are usually pretty good at recognizing those patterns, but AI, well, it seems it hasn't quite mastered that art yet.
It's like those optical illusions, right? You see one image, but then someone points out a hidden pattern, and suddenly you see something totally different.
Yes, exactly like that. And that's what makes this research so valuable. It's not just about seeing how well AI can code, but understanding how it thinks about coding and where its problem-solving strategies, well, where they differ from our own.
Okay, so we've got AI that can beat out most humans in coding challenges, but it still struggles with those really tough problems that need that human touch. What else did this research uncover?
Well, there was this one finding that really surprised me. It seems when it comes to competitive coding, AI actually performs better using C++ than Python.
Wait, really? I thought Python was like the language for AI development. I mean, it's what everyone's learning these days.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic for a lot of things. But in the world of competitive coding, speed and efficiency are everything. Every millisecond counts. And that's where C++ really, well, it really shines.
Okay, so why is C++ faster in this context?
Well, C++ gives developers so much more control over how the code interacts with the computer's hardware. It's like you have access to the engine of a car and you can fine-tune every little aspect of its performance. Python, on the other hand, it's more of a high-level language, designed for ease of use and readability.
Hmm.
But that comes at the cost of some, well, raw processing power.
So even though Python might be the more popular language overall, C++ is still the king when it comes to squeezing out every last drop of performance.
Yeah, and that's crucial in those competitive coding scenarios.
So the AI is basically learning from the best, huh? It's like it's picking up on all the tricks of the trade that human coders have been using for years.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because this finding, it actually reflects what we see with human competitive coders, too. They overwhelmingly favor C++ for those same reasons.
That's wild. So it's not just that AI can code, it's that it's learning how to code strategically. It's making choices about which tools to use based on, what the situation calls for, just like a human coder would.
Exactly. And it shows that CODEELO isn't just testing AI's ability to write code. It's testing its ability to understand those nuances of different programming languages and to make strategic choices based on what the task demands.
This is seriously blowing my mind. We've got AI that can write code, it can compete with humans, it's even picking up on the strategies that the best human coders use. What's next? Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
Huh. Well, I don't think we need to panic just yet.
Hmm.
AI has come a long way, but I still believe there are those fundamental limits to its problem-solving abilities,
Mm.
especially when it comes to those really hard problems, the ones that need true creativity, or intuition, or the ability to really understand those complex human intentions.
So you're saying that those problems might represent a kind of like a frontier that AI still needs to conquer?
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah. And benchmarks like CODEELO are so valuable because they help us track AI's progress. They help us see where it's still got room to improve.
It's like having a measuring stick to see like how far AI has come and where it still needs to grow.
Exactly. And it's not just about building AI that can code, it's about building AI that can code intelligently, making strategic decisions, adapting to different challenges, and maybe even, pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible in software development.
No, that's a thought. Speaking of pushing boundaries, this research has got me thinking about this whole idea of a feedback loop between AI and human coders.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, we've seen that AI can learn from those top human coders, right? Picking up on their strategies and preferences and all that. But could it work the other way around? Could we humans, could we actually learn something from the way AI approaches these coding challenges?
Hmm. Now that's a fascinating idea. It's like this symbiotic relationship where both the AI and the humans are, pushing each other to become better coders. I like it.
Right. It's not AI versus humans, it's AI and humans, like working together to reach new heights of coding awesomeness.
And that brings us to this CODEELO data set. I mean, it's not just a benchmark. It's like this treasure trove of information for anyone who really wants to get in there and understand how AI approaches coding, at that granular level.
So, what are some things people could do with this data set? Like, what kind of insights could they uncover?
Well, imagine analyzing the specific types of problems that, tripped up the various AI models Were there patterns in the code they generated, like subtle clues about where their logic broke down?
It'd be like being a detective, right? Trying to piece together the AI's thought process and figure out why it stumbled in certain situations.
Exactly. Or someone could create visualizations, of the AI's ELO ratings over time, like charting their progress as they learn and improve.
That'd be so cool to see. You could actually watch the AI's skills develop and see those points where it made a significant jump forward.
And who knows, maybe someone out there will discover a whole new approach to AI training, based on what they find in this data set.
So to all our listeners out there, if you're feeling adventurous, we definitely encourage you to dive into this CODEELO dataset and see what you can uncover. Maybe you'll spot something that we missed, or maybe you'll come up with a completely new perspective on what all this means for the future of AI and coding.
We'd love to hear about any interesting discoveries you make.
Seriously, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you find. This has been a truly mind-bending deep dive. We went from AI barely being able to write a simple program to now it's competing with skilled humans in coding competitions. It's mind-blowing how far this technology has come.
It really is. It's an exciting time to be witnessing this evolution firsthand. And as AI keeps pushing the boundaries, we'll be here to break it all down for you, exploring the latest developments and helping you make sense of it all.
So until next time, keep those brains buzzing and happy coding, everyone. Now, there's one thing in this research that I found really surprising. It says that when it comes to competitive coding, AI actually often performs better using C++ than Python.
That's right.
Which is, really surprising, right? Because Python is it's known for being so user-friendly and versatile. It's often the first language people learn when they get into coding and AI.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great for a lot of applications. But in the world of competitive coding, speed and efficiency are everything.
Yeah.
Every millisecond counts. And that's where C++ really shines.
Okay, so can you explain that a little more? Why is C++ faster in this context?
Well, C++ gives developers a lot more control over how the code interacts with the computer's hardware.
Mm.
It's like having access to the engine of a car and being able to fine-tune every aspect of its performance. Python, on the other hand, is more of a high-level language. It's designed for ease of use and readability. But that comes at the cost of, some raw processing power.
So even though Python might be the more popular language overall, C++ still has this edge when it comes to squeezing out every last drop of performance, which is so crucial in competitive coding.
Yeah, exactly. What's fascinating is that this finding actually mirrors what we see with human competitive coders too.
Mm-hmm.
They overwhelmingly favor C++ for those same reasons.
So the AI is learning from the best.
Precise.
It's picking up on those strategies and preferences of all those top human performers.
Yeah. And it suggests that Code isn't just testing AI's ability to write code, but its ability to understand the nuances of different programming languages and make those strategic choices based on the specific demands of the task.
So it's not just blindly following instructions, it's actually developing a sense of which tools are best suited for different jobs, just like a human coder would.
Exactly.
That's so cool. And, the implications of this go way beyond just competitive coding.
Sure.
Think about any field where efficiency and performance are critical. Things like financial modeling, scientific simulations, or even self-driving cars. If AI can learn to make these strategic decisions about which programming language to use, it could lead to some, really major advancements.
Good.
That's a really compelling point. So as AI continues to evolve, are we headed toward a world where it just dominates coding competitions, leaving us humans in the dust?
Well, that's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's certainly something to ponder. While AI has made incredible progress, I believe there are still those fundamental limits to its, problem-solving abilities, especially when it comes to those hard problems that require, true creativity or intuition, or the ability to understand those really complex human intentions.
So you're saying that those problems might represent a kind of a frontier that AI still needs to conquer?
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah. And benchmarks like CODEELO are invaluable for helping us track AI's progress and identify those areas, where it still needs to improve.
So it's we have this measuring stick to see how far AI has come and where it still has room to grow.
Exactly. And it's not just about building AI that can code. It's about building AI that can code intelligently, making strategic decisions, adapting to different challenges, and maybe even pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible in the realm of, software development.
Speaking of pushing boundaries, this research has really made me think about the potential for a kind of feedback loop between AI and human coders.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, we've seen that AI can learn from the best human coders, picking up their strategies and preferences. But could it work the other way around? Could we as humans learn something from the way AI approaches these coding challenges?
That's a fascinating idea. Like this symbiotic relationship where both AI and humans are pushing each other to become better coders.
Exactly. It highlights the fact that this isn't about AI versus humans. It's about how we can use AI as a tool to, well, enhance our own abilities and explore those new frontiers in the world of coding. And that's where this CODEELO data set, that's where it becomes so valuable, right? It's not just a benchmark. It's like this whole treasure trove of information for anyone who, really wants to get into the nitty-gritty of how AI approaches coding.
Yeah, it's like a window into the AI's thought process as it tackles these coding challenges.
So what are like some of the things that people could explore with this data set? What kind of insights could they maybe uncover?
Well, imagine someone analyzing those specific types of problems that really tripped up the different AI models, right? Were there any patterns in the code that they generated? Subtle clues, maybe, about where their logic kind of broke down.
It'd be like being a detective, trying to piece together how the AI was thinking and like why it stumbled in certain situations.
Exactly. Or someone could create visualizations of the AI's ELO ratings over time, like, charting their progress as they learn and improve.
Oh, that'd be cool to see. You could actually watch the AI skills develop and like pinpoint those moments where it made a big leap forward.
And who knows, maybe someone out there will discover a whole new approach to AI training, based on the insights they get from this data set.
So to all our listeners out there, if you're up for a challenge, we encourage you to dive into this CODEELO data set and see what you can find. Maybe you'll spot something we miss, or maybe you'll come up with a whole new perspective on what all this means for the future of AI and coding.
Yeah, definitely let us know what you discover. We always love hearing from you.
This has been a wild ride. I mean, we've gone from AI barely being able to write a simple program to, well, now it's competing with skilled humans in these crazy coding competitions.
It's incredible how far this technology has come, even just in the last few years.
It really is. And it makes you wonder what the future holds, right?
Absolutely. But one thing's for sure, as AI continues to evolve and push the boundaries of what's possible, we'll be here to break it all down for you, exploring the latest developments and, well, helping you make sense of it all.
So until next time, keep those brains buzzing and happy coding, everyone.